¿Qué onda, mis amigos? Look, one of my clients was recently pulled over and charged with possession of narcotic drugs and drug paraphernalia, specifically fentanyl. But because of his willingness to take my advice, enroll in a rehab program, and maintain steady employment, we were able to convince the prosecutors to drop all the charges. In Arizona, if you're arrested and charged with any sort of drug case, you could be facing years in prison. This is the situation that David was in. He was just pulled over for speeding, but when the officer spotted drug paraphernalia on the floor of the car, everything changed and he was charged with possession of narcotic drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to share how, with a proper defense strategy, we were able to get David's case dismissed. My name is Matt Bartz, the founder of Armor Legal, a criminal defense firm in Mesa, Arizona. I'm a Spanish-speaking criminal defense attorney that specializes in life-changing criminal defense cases and federal defense cases. One of the most common questions that people have when charged with a drug crime in Arizona is what the potential repercussions are. Just recently, we represented a client that was charged with possession of narcotic drugs and drug paraphernalia, and we were able to get his case dismissed. So David was a licensed nurse that worked at a local hospital, but when he was pulled over for speeding and the officer looked in the car and saw items of drug paraphernalia on the floor, he ended up being charged with possession of narcotic drugs and drug paraphernalia. When David first came to me, he was terrified because a conviction for this would end his career. He would lose his fingerprint clearance card that he needed to work in the hospital, and no one else was going to want to hire him. A case like this has lifelong consequences. All those years that he spent studying in school, all that time, all that money, all that sacrifice, he would need to start his life from scratch. Once we were retained, we knew we had to get to work immediately. This meant going to the location of the traffic stop to investigate the area and determine if there was any possible way to challenge the traffic stop. We helped send David to rehab, where he could get the treatment he needed to put these drugs in the past. We collected letters from people that wanted to see David get a second chance. And I worked with David to learn about all the good things that he had going on in his life and the amazing plans he had for his future. We attacked his case on multiple fronts with the prosecutor. In the end, we convinced the prosecutor that David deserved a second chance, and his entire case was dismissed. Today, David is still working at that same hospital and just returned from a family vacation to Disneyland. Look, this charge could have cost him his career, his car, his home. When people start losing things like that, sometimes it even costs them their family. All of that could have been avoided and was with high quality legal representation. Hey, people make mistakes and everyone deserves a second chance. There's a time to negotiate and a time to fight. When you find yourself in this position, it's time to fight. Schedule a consultation. We'll spend at least 30 minutes going through your situation, free of charge, to figure out what can be done. Every one of us can say that we'll never commit a crime, but none of us can guarantee that we won't ever be accused of one. When that happens to you, we've got your back. It's what we do.